All right, we're back. We're in the building. Somebody's podcast, episode 20. I'm back in the captain's chair. I wasn't here last episode. Shout out to my man J-Mac holding it down. Shit ain't easy in the captain's chair.
Hell no. I was nervous
You
as
did a great
fuck.
job, actually.
I was nervous.
Nah, I was proud. But there's that initial panic right before the episode starts that's fucking underrated that no one knows about.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
the
sure you
only
didn't
part.
promote it.
Yeah.
Way to promote it. Our views are low. What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when daddy's not on the podcast. You know what I mean?
Daddy's not home.
Yeah, so episode 20, Somebody's Podcast. Man, we got a special guest in the building, and which actually it gives me the inspiration of like the topic that I want to talk about for this actual episode, this podcast. I got my man Eddie in the building, one of my fucking favorite human beings on the planet Earth, and I always think about like what do I want to talk about, and then I'm thinking about who I have in the building. I'm thinking about like my life and just in general a lot of stuff, and like it made me think of like this thing called the warrior mentality, man. And I see it a lot in the halls. It's like people that in spite of what life is throwing at them, in spite of the circumstances that they've got going on, in spite of like the universe they feel conspiring against them, in spite of like pain, in spite of like getting kicked in the fucking face time and time again from life, in spite of like being in that like spiritual, mental, physical, emotional bottom, like just confused and scared, full of fear, like deciding to continue to get up and to do the next right thing and to stay a part of the process and on the path. And I heard a motivational speaker say, yeah, it's really easy to have gratitude when like life is going your way. And it's essentially like keep that same energy like when things start to shift up on you. You know, that's where when adversity hits, like we'll let you know who you are and where you're at. And we all have the opportunity of choice. We can't control like life, but we can control like our attitude and effort in the midst of the life that's happening, right? And a lot of times, and for me early in the process, like it is easy to fall into that victim mentality, man. It's easy to like feel bad for yourself and to just lay in fear and marinate it. And I know that's the disease that wants you there. And what's fucking hard though is having the shit hit the fan and having all these things go wrong and still getting up and still trying to like be a good person and do the next right thing and still trying to get recovery. Like Eddie, congratulations on 3 years clean.
It's amazing.
And like
It's awesome.
that was a hard-earned fucking 3 years, you know, like because I watched you and I've watched your process. I haven't known you for the whole time you've been ripping and running, but I've seen long enough to see the character that you have inside of you, and that you never gave up no matter what. You continued to be about this process, starting over, man, with nothing, and with that you carried that same fucking energy, man. You're a ball of light. You're a positive light in this universe, man. Even in the beginning of your process, you still had the ability to make me smile, to make me feel like good vibes. Like you brought light out of other people too, which was fucking amazing. Cause here you are with 1.5 days clean or 0.5 days clean. You know what I mean? And you're the type of dude to have a conversation with someone that's thinking about leaving and telling them to stay, to keep trying. And even though you could have essentially said, I've collected the data and I can't get this, but you always had that mentality like, nah, fuck this, I'm gonna get it. And you continue to push, man. And that shit inspires me. Right. And it's like, it's no coincidence. I told you in the truck, man, God always connects us at the perfect moments, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I met you and just so you know, I bring people on the podcast
You talk.
to listen to me talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to the fucking Chris show.
I'm back.
Daddy's back.
Seen every episode.
Yeah. And then eventually I tag Justin in and then he closes it out, right? So I'm the
Exactly.
lead off,
And then we
he's the
thank you for
closer.
coming.
And then we thank you for coming.
Yeah.
To listen to us.
Yep. But
And then he asks a question and Chris doesn't answer it the right way.
Yeah, I fucked it up.
yeah.
Ever.
Dropped the fumble, you know.
So I met Eddie many years ago, right? And I met him through a mutual friend, Matt Gannum. Shout out Matt Gannum. Eddie's one of
Shout out
Matt's.
Matty G.
Matt's another one of my favorite individuals. But like, I met him at a very dark time in my life, and Eddie was the beginning of his recovery process. And it's like what I talk about, like the foundation of everything that we do in life, especially in recovery, is that connection component, honesty, and communication, man, because you can't get the help you need unless you're transparent in your truth, in spite of what it is. So that led me to a place where I'm telling a stranger like what's truly going on with me, my pain, you know, like taking that leap of faith and letting somebody in, letting them know like where I was at in that moment. You know, at that point, I'm like probably 13 years clean, looking for strength with the dude that I don't even know how much time you had at that point.
I think I had like 2 months.
2 months. See, it doesn't even matter, man. That connection component, it doesn't fucking matter. And I remember we chilled all day, man. We laughed. You told me some story about this fucking kung fu dude. I was belly laughing, and then we were standing outside in the Kelly's Roast Beef parking lot, and you gave me the motivational speech of all motivational speeches, man. And we had known each other like that day. And you were telling me like, no matter what, you're going to be all right. God loves you. You're a beautiful human being. Now, this is coming from someone that, it's not like me and Eddie have gone back 20 years and he's telling me this shit. And he's looking me dead in the eyes and he's just telling me, God got you. You're a beautiful dude. Like, you're like, just building me up. And I needed it so much in that moment because I was like, for me, the spiritual condition that I was in that moment was that of someone that was barely making it. Right, I was in the depths of despair. Like, in every fucking word that came out of this dude's mouth, I needed in that moment. I needed, and there came a point where he's just like so confidently telling me I'm gonna be all right no matter what, and to trust God and to have faith and all this stuff. And I fucking believed him, and it changed something in my psyche. And that moment on, I told you that night we left that night, and I said I love you, and you said I love you too, brother. And I genuinely meant it. And that's off of a day of knowing an individual. And here we are all these years later, man. And like, I'm so blessed to have you a part of my life. And you're just out in the truck giving me the same words of encouragement. You know what I mean? It's like, there is no coincidence in anything, man. And that's like the power of like what the transparency and our truth, man, and communicating. You never know who's going to help you, right? We have to have that bit, that confidence and walk through that fear to just let people know where you're at. And you are a fucking warrior, Eddie, and you are an inspiration to so many fucking people. You continue to inspire me today, man. I was just out at your celebration, and how many people love you. And it's like they love you the same way I love you. Like they can't get enough of you because you build them up, man. You're one of those gifted individuals. Like I call it like God's soldiers. You're literally put on this earth in service to others and that's even without your permission. It's just a part of who you are naturally. You're around people and you build them up. And the world needs more people like you, you know, and that's why I was excited to have you on this podcast, man. Your story is powerful, and especially you just celebrated 3 years. And I don't know, I'll let you give a little bit about your background. You don't have to go into the full shit. You can technically talk about whatever the fuck you want, man. I just wanted somebody's family to get a little dose of Mr. Eddie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. I'm pretty pumped up to be here. Like I said, I listen to every episode. I was like, I'm a little bit of somebody's groupie.
Yeah.
I like to call myself.
My man.
You know, so I was like, oh, I wonder what the next episode is going to be. And then Chris had texted me and said, hey, Thursday is the next episode. Ed, come on, get ready. Like, here we go.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I was pumped up, man. No, thank you. Thank you for all those, like, endearing words. Like, that means a lot. I'll never forget that night at Kelly's Roast Beef. I meant it when I said it at my celebration. I literally fell in love with you.
Yeah.
You had a lot of time clean. Like, you gave me hope through that day. Like, because, like, you were literally one of the first people I had gone to a meeting, and somebody with time shared about the pain and the despair that they were in. And I had always been used to people talking about how great everything had got in their lives, everything they got back, which was great. I need that hope too. But I had put a little bit of time in between using before, and I got things back, but I just, those feelings, I always felt like I was doing something wrong.
Yep.
I said, cause like, all right, I got 8 months clean now. That guy was at everything. Like, he was feeling it. He was doing amazing. He was happy. I'm doing something wrong because I'm 8 months clean and I am fucking miserable right now, right? Yeah. Like, so but it was amazing because were you celebrating?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you were celebrating that night. And you just poured it on them.
Yeah.
Poured it on them.
Hell yeah.
That's how
You
he does
know,
it.
yeah, just literally just unleashed the tidal wave tsunami, and I was like, yes, right? Like
Yeah.
I literally
You can
was
feel
like,
that, but you feel that, right?
Oh, felt it so much, and everything he was talking about, I was identifying with and relating to, and I knew I loved you when you were sharing, you know. So it was such an honor to be able to go out with you after to Kelly's roast beef and like really have that like dialogue with you, like that one-on-one. I felt like we were literally the only people
Yeah.
sitting there talking.
Yeah.
And it felt amazing because like you were giving me the advice that I needed, you know, and through that you were feeling better, and then I was feeling better, and we were both feeling better, and we're laughing, and then it just continually grew.
Yeah.
It was just one of those. I love speaking, you know, with people like that, like people like you that just naturally encourage people too, because you feed off of each other. You know, I hear Justin talk about a lot energy, you know, people's energy. You talk about it, walking into a room knowing when people like it's just a doomsday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you just like
You go to the meeting, but you ended up in the morgue.
Yeah.
Like,
For
what
real.
the fuck?
What the fuck's going on here?
okay,
You
you know,
start
like,
smelling yourself and shit.
right? And like I'm not an awkward person. I'm really not. Like I feel really open all the time, like talking to people. I can make friends with a deaf mute. I can go up to random people. I'll give you a hug, even if like I don't have to be at a meeting. I'll walk up to you at Canopy Lake and I'll hug you.
Yeah.
Like as a stranger.
Yeah.
Like people like that's how comfortable I feel like. But yeah, the energy's real, man. Energy's real. That is a real thing. And like you are a lighthouse. Like all you guys, like I can just tell from meeting you, you're a lighthouse. You can tell when somebody's a lighthouse because they shine, you know? And there's no hiding that. There's no hiding energy. You can't do it. You can lie. You can say. You ever sit there and listen to somebody talk about how amazing they are,
Oh.
and you're like,
Oh.
this dude sucks. He's talking about all his accolades and how amazing, how he helped so many people, and you're just like, you suck as a person. I just don't even like it.
Or he films himself doing
Yeah.
nice shit on Facebook.
And you just know.
And then tags the person he did the nice shit for.
You know what I'm saying? Gives the exact amount of money that.
yeah.
So I'm like invested in this guy right now. Like,
Yeah.
but you know he's a piece of shit. Right? Like you just know it because like his energy screams it. You know?
I mean, prior, my mindset would be like that he's a piece of shit, but being more in like this, like, and me and Justin have these conversations all the time. It's like the allowance and the acceptance of someone where they're at in their process. I have a ability to see that that's just someone who is where they're at in that moment, and they actually require that that validation.
It's ego.
You know what I mean?
It's ego, but the ego is from fear.
Right.
So you create walls of ego. Everybody thinks ego is like this bad thing, and it is a turnoff sometimes. But the thing with ego is you don't get past your head. So when you're talking about energy, people speak from their heart and they're honest. They like exude energy. When you're just speaking from your head, you know what I mean? And it's all just like perception of like what you want to be putting out there. We can detect it so fucking quick. You know what I mean? And obviously,
yeah, I feel that. Like that's what I know. Ego, like you can tell people's ego, but you can tell a good person their energy through their ego.
Yeah.
Now I'm just saying, like there's more to this. I believe, like there's energy. You know, it's like they talk about, you know, the people who have the highest sense of this energy is animals and kids, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have a guy walk into a room and the kid's like, it's like the happiest kid in the world. You've never seen him shy away from anybody. He just runs up and he's just like, or a dog. Like,
yeah, you want to hear something cool about that? I was watching a show the other day, and they were saying that horses have the largest heart energy around. Their heart energy, it can be measured up to 20 feet beyond them. And if you have a heart murmur or any heart issue, just spending time with a horse helps heal your heart.
Wow.
Fucking amazing. You know what I mean?
that
And
is.
when you get into Greg Braden and all these other guys, they're all talking about heart energy and trying to live from our heart. And we live in a society that isn't always about that. You know what I mean? We talk about love and compassion and all these other things. It's like, you know, we're not, that shit's weak for, we're taught kind of not to live through that mechanism. We're obviously in recovery. We're taught the opposite. But at the same note, we come into recovery wounded fucking dogs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That just have been beaten up and are scared to fuck of people and are just leave me alone. You know what I mean? And for me, I can even say with all the years I have clean, I still was I'm working towards being more open now, but for years I still was the wounded dog. And like, if I knew I could trust you, I'd take down the wall. You know what I mean? But if I don't know you, I'm still the scared, stay away from me. You know what I mean? I don't know you. I don't trust you. I don't like you. Like that type of thing. But it was fear. It was fear of my experience that I had before I got here. You know what I mean? Before I got to recovery, this world was a scary place.
Still is.
100%.
Yeah,
Of
so
course, and essentially, like what we're talking about now, because fear lives in our mind, right? But like our intuition, it's the spiritual intuition, right? That we try to get to a place that's guiding us. It's like what we talked about, being an empath and walking into a room, or just being in a situation that you feel you shouldn't be there, or you feel like this isn't right, but your head's telling you otherwise, right? It's like, even in the midst of everything going on, my fear is stemming from my head. You know what I mean? My spiritual intuition is that I'm going to be good. Everything will be all right. And that's always been there. It's just a matter of tapping into that more than tapping into my head, you know? And when we have an understanding of the disease, we understand that it's through the analytical mind, right? And the constant flow of thoughts, whether good or bad, especially in the midst of like adversity, there's the seeping in of the negativity. So now you have an influx of the negative thoughts that get into the cycle, which the emotional repercussions come from that, whether we want them to or not, unless only until we begin to have the dialogue like this, right? Like in conversations like I had with you in the Kelly's parking lot. And guess what? Everything you said that night was correct. That woman that I was afraid to lose and I was heartbroken over and all that is my wife. And I have a child and another child on the way. But if you would ask me in that moment, my head would say, it's over forever. You fucked it up. It's done. She's gone. You're always going to be alone. You're always going to fuck things up. And you said, no, you're good. Your story's not done. God's got you. There's a lesson in it. All this shit. We're just talking about that, like taking the time to understand. It's not even taking the time. It's the understanding that there's a lesson involved in everything, right? The blessing comes through the lesson, but the lessons are sometimes, most times, fucking painful as fuck or scary as fuck, or with any situation that we go through in life. And it's like, to continue to have that warrior mentality, right? Move forward. You can't just lay down and expect things to get better. It's like, no, you got to stand up, get up, and keep pressing on. In spite of what your head's telling you. It's why I always tell people, especially in early recovery, this is a process that we must begin against our motherfucking will. We have to do this shit against our will, without our permission. And that's the same mentality. That's the warrior mentality. That comes into play when you're in pain, when you're having financial struggles, when you're having emotional struggles, when you're in a funk and depression. Like, the solution is still and always going to be action against your fucking will. Right? It's in defeat that the disease and that the devil, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that's where the victory comes, in defeat, when we just lie there and we deteriorate spiritually and we're just allowing the stress to release cortisone throughout our body, and we begin to get sick. You know, you ever been so stressed you got the sniffles? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Been so stressed you got fucking, that's us in a state of resistance to action, because we're just allowing the circumstances, the temporary circumstances of our lives in that moment to fucking win, right? Yeah. And when you look at it in a totality perspective, it's this fucking big in the whole story of what you're trying to write, right? But we'll allow it to be the whole fucking, the ending of the movie. It's like you just said outside, bro, you're in the middle. And that's why I always tell people, I tell you all the time, you haven't scratched the surface yet, Chris.
Yep.
As good as you think your life is right now, you haven't even scratched the fucking surface.
And I believe that too. I believe that 1,000%, because my life has gotten nothing but better. But don't get it wrong. I've definitely had to walk through a lot of pain. but there's been guidance through that pain.
Of course.
And walking through that pain has been a lesson every single time.
Every time.
How many times? I could tell you when I first got clean, I was like, there's no way I'd be able to walk through this type of situation. But I have. And it's the most awkward and uncomfortable thing because I want to run to what I know, right? That escape, that natural reaction to get high.
Of course.
To get me out of myself.
Growth 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 is uncomfortability.
Yeah.
There is no escaping it. It's the toll we must pay for change, right? The uncomfortability is the toll we must pay. Yeah. It's even like you're fucking you put on size. You're in good shape right now. That didn't come from you fucking laying in a bed and someone coming massaging you and you sleeping extra. It came from you have to get up, go to the gym, lift fucking weights when you don't want to. Jay gets up every morning against his will, goes to the gym, fucking lifts weights.
It started with him too, down in Florida.
Well, hearing you say that too, I just sitting
Apparently,
here
I don't
thinking.
get up every morning and go to the gym. Pretty sure I do, but
I didn't know you were.
He was just talking about too the camera, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't look as big as because he's big in person." I want to say that,
but straight up, that mentality, you're saying you have to do it against your will. I don't know about anyone here, but I fucking used for a long time against my will. That shit was not fun for a long time. I had to learn how to go to meetings, do step work, all that, even when I didn't want to. Right, every day. I literally now there's not a day that goes by that I get up and I'm like, oh, I have to go to the gym. It's only downstairs. I mean, I'm staying with Chris, so it's downstairs. But there was some times where I literally would be like, lay down longer. Lay down, like, take that 45-minute, lay down long. Now I literally get up. I have my pre-workout. I go downstairs. I layer the fuck up. I put the heater on. I leave it on for 20 minutes. I go down. I've been doing an hour of cardio. The second I'm done, I go upstairs. I read. I meditate. This is all shit. I never did that before. I've always worked out off and on with being clean. But reading and meditating, sending out, when I drink my pre-workout, go to the bathroom, sit there, I have a half-hour window where I search out positive content. I put something out on social media that's motivating that I truly feel, and people hit me up. It fills a void in me literally every morning that people hit me up and say, and these are people that aren't even addicts, some of them, friends that I've had for years, they literally say, keep doing that shit. Yeah. I didn't always do that. I liked stuff like that. And I've been through that stage of social media where I would put out nonsense or passive aggressive bullshit when a relationship ends or
you a troll master fucking you
troll master flex.
Oh man.
So bad. And you know what? I don't do that. And now I send out positive shit. I work out. I do this, right? And everything that I talk about every day I do. And just like you're saying, because 100% there's literally an energy, and I don't doubt that for 1 second that you met Chris, had a conversation with them, and you love them. I have friends I've had for 20 fucking years that I don't say I love, that I'm not even that close with. You were just in the same neighborhood as me, and we happen to know each other still. And then I met people like Justin, Chris, and this Chris, but I've known them two forever, right? And I've said it numerous times. Justin was one of the first people to reach out to me that's my own age, where it was like, oh, this is actually a possibility to be clean. Okay. And we were like really good friends. We've worked out. We've played ball together for years. We've traveled. We've done, conventions and all this stuff, right?
I've almost fist fought on the ball
court. Yeah, that's true.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing. But bottom line is,
I love him though.
But I love this dude. Been to his wedding.
Love you, buddy.
Chris is like a brother to me. That's where I'm staying right now. You want to talk about when shit's going bad, whether it's mentally, your world crumbling around you, a relationship ending. I'm here to fucking tell you with confidence, I still knew I was going to be all right. Because guess what? What I do every fucking day, literally from work to what do I enjoy and paint and all that, is what I dreamed of.
Yeah.
That's no bullshit of a lie. It's what I dreamed of, and I get to do it every day with still a lot more to do.
Hey, to be honest with you, I love the dialogue. I love the talking about the pain. Like, it's my favorite part of this process because, like, we talk about it all the time, how much, like, that's where the growth is. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, like, in the lessons to be learned in the pain, and I'm learning through my process, like, dead serious, like, that the most important lesson in going through pain is not necessarily the lesson that I learned in it. It's the lesson of that I can fucking go through pain.
Yeah.
Right? That's the lesson. And like, that's amazing.
And it's the most motivating thing, at least in my story. The most painful shit that I went through, shit that I've gone to Chris and been like literally in tears. I don't know what to do. Whether it was coming back or conversations being clean. I look back at that and I tap into that for motivation. And that's what I try to teach guys that are new, that they don't know what that dialogue looks like. What does a good life look like to you? I don't know. I just don't want to drink and do drugs. And you're not trying to like minimize their dream, but that's literally all I could wrap myself around when I first got clean. I just don't want to get fucked up. Yep. Okay, how about if I told you that if you do work on you, you can do whatever the fuck you want? That sounds like a fucking commercial, don't it?
Yeah.
Nah, that's real life. That's real life. Because half the time when you're talking about ego, I feel like when I tap into what I've done, or him with dancing, or even where you guys are at now with all these things that you've accomplished, it sounds like bragging. Sorry if it sounds like bragging. The bottom line is it's fucking reality.
It inspires
it's not
hope.
bragging. It's
it
real
inspires
life.
hope.
The old CEO of the private equity firm, this guy was like a real reserved dude, but then he'd just go into a room and he'd light it up. One of the things he loved to say was, it's not bragging if you've done it.
I like that.
100%.
Interesting.
I like that.
You know?
Just like I seen a thing earlier that said it's not always bragging. You're just reading it with a jealous mind. And
Well, it's like, well, not
right?
for
It's the
nothing.
truth.
Not for nothing. You were getting attacked recently.
Oh.
And people have this perception. No, let's talk about this. People have this perception about humility, that it's about being a quiet, meek mouse. That is not humility. If you look up the definition of humility, humility is shining your light and being who you are. So if you're being a beacon of hope and you're out there sharing your truth, you actually are carrying yourself with humility. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted that like just being quiet is humble, because you'll fall into the trap of having to fit into a form of who you think everybody, you're living an ego. You're trying to be spiritual and yet you're living an ego. And it's a trapdoor that a lot of people fall into. They have this perception of what it's like, and they want to be morally perfect, and they want to, you know what I mean, do everything right. And it's like, that is not spiritual. Spiritual is being who you are. Spiritual is being open and honest about your deepest, darkest secrets. Because by embracing the darkness, you'll get to the light, and you will show other people the light, because they're like, oh man, you know what I mean? I'm in this fucking darkness too. And even the darkness, it's part of the polarity. It's like, what the fuck we're doing here? Like, if it was just all light, if God just wanted us to be perfect, what the fuck would this world even be? You would learn nothing. We'd all just be like, ah.
I think with that situation, humility and ego got confused, right? Because like you said, humility is being who you are. It's not being the quiet mouse. It's about being who you truly are, right? Same thing with spirituality. But I also think that whatever situation it was, like someone acted out of fear of the unknown.
Yeah, no, I'm
going to be honest.
I'm just saying
I'm glad it all worked out.
Well,
Yeah, it all worked out. My whole thing is, though, real quick, is that I just share what my daily routine is. All I know is I'm on the right path because it feels good here. And for one or two people that try to troll and fucking run their mouth on, right? Because let's be honest, some people are tough like this. That's not tough to me. If there's only 2 people that did that and 20 that every morning reach out, or people from different fucking countries, I'm doing something right. Yeah. And what I mean by right is I literally just own all my fuck ups. I talk about every aspect of my relapse. The fact that we connect the dots back, bro. This is what happened, not just picking up and drinking. I did all this because a lot of people are like, I had time and I can't get past, and I'll bring it up real quick. I had a conversation with Chris years ago, and I had relapsed, and we're sitting in his car, and I just couldn't get back. And he literally was like, you got to stop dwelling on the fact that you don't have that time anymore. Grasp the fact that you have the knowledge still and move forward. And I remember it being like, poof. Now I had already kind of thought that with my own dialogue, right? Yeah. It hits different when it's someone that you care about, right? And ever since then, I've never forgot that conversation, because that is exactly what I do. I tap into everywhere that I went wrong, and I just own who the fuck I am. I've been in trouble clean before. Okay, cool. I'm not like praising that or like saying that that's a cool thing. I'm just saying that it isn't about fucking having years clean and doing step work and all that, and your life is never bad, or you never act out of pocket, or you never put your hands on someone. You try to live better, right?
Can I ask you a question?
What up?
I was just thinking about this. I was talking about this with my sponsor. It's been a current event in my life. You know, we were just talking about, you know, trolling, negative people. You ever noticed, I don't know, for me, some days, most days, I'm real good with that today. I'm real good with trolls and people that are negative and people.
Oh, not feeding into it?
Yeah, like for instance, right? Like I got rid of Facebook a while ago. It just wasn't a positive outlet.
God bless you, man.
I'm on 2 weeks. 2
Chris
weeks,
got rid of
no
everything.
social media.
God bless you,
yeah,
man.
It was a long time ago, right? I decided
Yeah.
it's just not positive. I mean, I talk to all the people closest to me. I have their phone numbers and stuff. I just don't need to. So I deleted it. I felt a million times better, right? And that was just the first step in me evolving, you know, in the program as a person.
You just felt like it needed to be done.
It needed to be done, and it did need to be done. And in hindsight, it was amazing, and it's still amazing. Like, people like, oh, you know, like, I talk to people that is like, dude, did you see this on Facebook? Nope, I actually didn't.
Yeah.
You know, but going off of that, the question, you ever notice some days for me, you know, somebody could say something, and I'm talking about brutal comments like that, just were put out there to hurt me intentionally. The motives were there.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, dude, yep. Walk away. Like, right? Like, literally never give it another thought. And, you know, some days people say some comments that who knows what their intentions were. I don't know. It wasn't even that bad. And I'm like, and I want to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And I'll probably get beat up in the process. Let's be honest, right? I'm a lover, not a fighter. But, like, it's about my perspective. So, like, I was just talking about this with my sponsor. This is what I've recently started to realize. I can be critical sometimes, man. You don't want to talk about, you know, being an encourager and being like, sometimes I can be critical for, like, nothing. I'm like, look at this dude. Hey, walking in the meeting, the dude did nothing wrong at all. Let's just clear that up. And but you know what's cool is I've been finding myself doing lately, and it's so awesome. And this is like the hope shot, right? Is when I do that, sometimes I find myself asking myself questions after I do it, like, what's going on with you, Eddie?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah, but that's it. But
I do that out of fear. I don't know someone that walk into a room and I'll character assassinate them because I'm afraid they're gonna do it to me. I'll bet this dude's such a schmuck, and I'll meet him. He's the nicest person. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I gotta pray or something.
But the amazing thing is being like catching yourself. Like other people have been beside me and been like, dude, that dude did nothing wrong. What's going on with you? But the like amazing thing is when you can start to have dialogue with yourself.
Yeah, but you start reading the 4 agreements, other stuff. I mean, you're a little bit talking there, Eddie, about like the observer. You become the
inner
observer. You become the observer of yourself, and it's a spiritual concept. It's actually very deep, and we don't teach it as much in 12-step recovery. But it's a powerful thing when you can live from your higher self. Literally, you can separate, like, oh man, why am I being like that? And you can see yourself. Do you know what I mean? You can see a piece of your ego. In turn, you're actually dissolving your ego.
Yeah.
It's
well, I don't know what the question was.
So the question was, like, you know, through seasons like this, it sounds like you went through
and I had a situation.
bit
So
of
I don't want to even touch on it too much. The bottom line is someone got out of line that wouldn't talk like that in person. That's just a fact. We cross paths. I'm calm. Anyone that knows me, when it comes to disrespect, I know that's still a character defect of mine. I just feel the need to fucking bring it like to a 12.
But are there days, my question was, are there days, though, when, like, that wouldn't
bother me?
Would you have brushed, like...
Yes, because the internet, let's be honest, a lot of that goes on with people that don't know each other. If someone gets crazy and you actually know them, it's like, where's this coming from? And ultimately, what I'm here to say is I went from being really mad to being super loving and not mad at all.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that situation, it sounds like what you're saying, that has more to do with the people talking shit to you freely or feeling the need. That's an insecurity or a hurt here.
Right.
It's just what it is. If someone's doing something positive and putting out and you find something negative and chime in, that has more to do with you than anything that I was doing.
But normally our reaction has to do with our wound. Is my
Oh,
experience. You touch some wound in me, and I'm like, "Fuck you, dude."
Yes.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
Brings up something from the past.
We internalize everything.
I was like,
We internalize everything.
I worked on that for. I don't feed into none of that. Although I do feel the emotional repercussions of it. I find myself falling prey to it, just seeping in it. But I don't respond to it. And that's a lot of the stuff, like with all the books and everything that we've been reading for like the last 5 years, like not responding to negativity with negativity, and like to always come from a love standpoint, always trying to find love in all of it, which isn't easy. you know, and like my wife calls me Positive Paul. That's like her nickname for me, because I always just try to see the perspective of what the other person may be going through or feeling, which is hard sometimes, because maybe there isn't a perspective that you could acknowledge. Maybe it's just that they're a hurtful person in this moment, and still you have to go one level under that. Like, why are they hurting? You know, and like, what is causing them to act outside of character or to harm me or whatever it is. And because I don't want to be held to that's such a standard that I couldn't hold myself to. I mean, I don't want to hold someone to a standard that I couldn't hold myself to, because I'm still prone to human frailty and to being critical and to being judgmental. It's like, I was just running a group on this the other day, and I say it all the time, like, are we gonna like prepare to be judged, right? You're gonna be judged, like
100%.
just you'll judge and people will judge you. When you get to a place of transparency, understand that you will be judged, because there's different people that are in different places in their process. But amongst a room of 100 people, if you isolate yourself from 80 of them, there's still 20 that you didn't isolate yourself from, that you connected with. Yeah. And those are the people that you require in your journey, right? And we can't have an expectation of not being judged, because we're hardwired. You can't even not judge yourself. You can't even not be critical of yourself. I have more character assassinating thoughts about me throughout the day than I do about other people. Yeah. And it's like, I don't decide to have those, you know. I'm not like, hey, it's 11:30. Let's really shit on myself hard right now to put myself in a semi-state of depression for the next 20 minutes.
I look in the mirror. I'm like, I look good today. My head's like, no, the fuck you don't.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What?
Or you're like, hair's looking good, and then it's like, yeah, but your teeth are jacked. I'm like, God damn, who the fuck? What the?
Who's that?
Who is there? Yeah. And it's like that. I don't decide to have those thoughts. So if I can't stop me from criticizing me, how the fuck am I going to stop me from having a thought about somebody else? I have to understand. It's like we're talking about the inner observer or Eckhart Tolle. Understand that thoughts are just what they are. Yeah. They're thoughts. They come and go, and it all depends. Like, our control over, we can never essentially control thoughts from coming, but we can control how they make us feel and our response to them 100%. With a deep understanding of what they are. Actually, they're just a byproduct of what it is. Sometimes you're around a lot of negative people, a lot of negative thoughts come into your mind. Sometimes you're around loving and positive people that are lights like you. When I'm around you, Eddie, I don't have negative thoughts. I don't have negative thoughts. I have like happy thoughts. I want to laugh. I want to break balls. I think about your fucking, I'm going to make you tell that story on this podcast too. But I have healthy thoughts. That's why we have to be conscious. Conscious.
I'm gonna let it slide.
All four of those words are nice.
All of them. We have of what we're inputting into the cycle of thought. Who we're allowing to be a part of our lives. Well, like, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Your reference group, right? Your reference group is responsible for 90% of your success and failures in life. It's like you have to make a conscious decision around what you're surrounding yourself with, who you're surrounding yourself with, and what you're doing. That's why it's important to go on a path of finding meaning and purpose in life, because that's going to be a direct effect of how you're thinking and the response emotionally. Like, you can't do a job that you hate, and your head tells you, like, this is what men do or this is what women do. You need to pay the bills, and it's like, that's fucking bullshit, because that's going to be responsible for the cycle of thought. Now, Monday through Friday, when you get up every day and you're like, I fucking hate this. I fucking hate this. I hate this job. I hate myself. I hate this desk. I hate fucking Nancy across there. I hate Jim. I hate fucking Bob over there. And it's like, that's you're now a byproduct. The cycle of thought is a byproduct of the circumstances that you. Now, sometimes things are stepping stones to get us to where we're at. That's why when you have an understanding of what's going on, when you make a conscious decision, that's my word of the day apparently. But when you understand that this is just for this current moment, but what I ultimately want is to move closer and closer to my path and purpose, then the negativity toward your current circumstances isn't so like fucking profound, like just hammering you all day, because you know that this is just temporary, and you have an understanding that this is all for the grand scheme of things. Like, you have your eye on the target that you've set for yourself, therefore negativity can't hammer you as consistently. And it's just like, we're talking about the critical thinking and stuff like that, man, and the inner observer. It's like, the more work we do on ourselves, we change the way the dialogue that we have with ourselves. It does change, and you become a motivator to yourself and all that stuff, but we change it through the actions and through the people around us. It's like what Jay was talking about. The most important, the most valuable thing in our friendships is he's been the alternate voice to the voice in my head that's telling me I can't, and he's telling me I can. You know, and it's the same with Justin. And it's like these relationships, man. Sometimes I don't have the ability to take the action. I need you to get me to take the action. Sometimes I don't have faith. I need you to remind me of my faith. Sometimes I don't have energy. I need people to give me energy.
I just almost raised my hand like we were in.
Go ahead.
Teacher?
Oh, pick me. Because when he's hitting on something, I'm like, want to jump in, but he's
just cut me off.
No, cut him off. Get rid of him.
Shut your mouth.
All three of us have known each other through so much, and Justin was one of those people that always, especially like with Chris with the dancing and just like pushing them and being like, go get it. And that's like how our relationship started. And then you look at the last 6-7 months right before the pandemic hit, I'm in Florida, and every fucking day, dude, when I can't stress enough how much the alarm would go off, and I hated my day-to-day routine. I absolutely hated it. And we had these conversations, and it was to the point where I'd get so much out of those conversations that I would like text him like the next day and be like, dude, pencil me in. Like, I know you're busy, but you got to call me at this time or whatever, right? And he hates being on the phone like that. And there's one time we were on the phone for like an hour and a half. Belly laughing and talking. Yeah. And once there was a destination, like a time set up for coming back, because you need the help of friends. I can't do this alone. And I just was down there for 2 years, like started a whole new career. You want to talk about fear? It reminded me of being a kid. Like I was scared to go to school. Life scared me. Yeah. The difference with this kind of fear though is it's like, my life. I mean, I'm around fucking gators and all this crazy ass shit and in the water and just like
big ass bugs. Yeah.
Bugs, snake, all that, right? And I realized how much my spirit missed working around other addicts in painting. Painting is my thing. So towards the end, once we discussed and we're like, all right, here's a date. You just come up here. You can stay here. I needed that kind of help. Yeah. Okay? Because I know what my path is. I've been on it for a long time. But I needed help of friends. And I would just, the last like few weeks to a month of being down there, I had these jobs I had to finish. I would work 10-hour days out in the fucking Florida sun, dude. Like just so fucking scorched from the sun. And then I would paint till like 9-10 o'clock at night after. And just paint. And that's how I was paying the bills. And I still do. I paint and I work in recovery, right? And when I started to realize that there was a date, I knew I got tested. There's a couple altercations I had down there where I was like, yo, I would call and vent to Chris, like, almost like fights and just shit was just escalating where I was like, yo, I need to get the fuck out of here. And once I came back, man, that dialogue, like that's why I felt like raising my hand. I was like, I got to jump in. I used to think so negatively at work every day. I would like literally be like, oh my God, 9 more fucking hours. 9 more hours. Yeah. Now sometimes I'm off at 10 and I stay with these guys till 11:30, quarter at 12 just talking because that's the most important shit to me. When there's no one else around, the ones that stay up and want that connection, just like I said before, I've known guys for a long time and I still don't say I love you. And then you can meet someone, just like you said, you can walk into a meeting or a room. And that's what I strive for today. When you just own who the fuck you are and other guys come up and are like, thank you for sharing like that, right? I don't really think negative every day now. Yeah. And it was even like that the first like month or so being back up here. Don't work out. You're a fucking bitch. This is what my head, it would like talk shit to me. It would talk shit to me, and now it's the opposite. I look forward to it, and I had to ingrain it, and I think positively most of the time. And it's being able to come home. Me and this dude have conversations sometimes at 11:30, 11 o'clock at night, and those are the most important conversations. I have many throughout the day, and those are still the most important.
Yeah, he's all right.
That same
Yo, you working out, bro?
Go ahead, Justin.
Okay. So
that's a new thing. We're raising our hand now.
We're going to take a bathroom break. No.
No, but I mean, you were talking about it, and ultimately it becomes a philosophy of living. Yeah. It's like thought, action, experience. And eventually, if you do thought, action, experience enough, you embody the philosophy. You literally become the philosophy. Not to say that you're not going to have days where you need to change the thought again. Someone needs to help you with some energy, but then they help you with some energy and you're able to take the next action and then you're back in the routine of embodying. Dude, I had a guy tell me today that like, I was talking about Ascend and investments and all this other stuff. And he's like, 9 out of 10 new startups fail. And I was like, what? I was like, not for me, brother. Not for me. I've never had a company fail, and I don't see it happening. Like, it's not happening. Like,
Because you won't let it.
No, dude. It's like, it's just, and I don't know, and recovery has given me that. Like, literally, recovery's given me that. And if you really break down what recovery is, it's like, that is what we're doing. We're changing the way that we think to view the world through a different lens. When we were using, it was all bad. You know what I mean? And like, life was overwhelming and you couldn't fucking handle it, and you might as well just get high. You know? But when you get into recovery, it's like, dude, life is your playground. And obviously it takes some time, but experience comes with time. You know what I mean? You have a thought form.
Failure.
And obviously, and failure, you know, but you got to surround yourself with the right people. And then you have to take the action. And then, but a lot of people, back to the honesty piece, a lot of people get stuck in like the negative thoughts, but they don't want to be honest about the negative thoughts. And so they put on this perception. They're living on Facebook like, hey, look at me. Yeah, things are good. When they're ready to kill themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their relationship's terrible. They're hurting like a motherfucker. They're going to Lowell for prostitutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever they got going on. You know?
My man.
So, but they're not sharing that. You know what I mean? So they're living in, like, you can't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
You know? So, again, I subscribe. You know, you and I both subscribe, all of us do, really, to the 8 Mile. I'll talk about myself before you do.
Yep.
Every day of the week.
100%.
This is who I am. This is what I got going on. Like it, love it, leave it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know
Because
what I mean?
the importance of it is without the transparency and what's going on, the negative dialogue, it'll start to create narratives without us even knowing that they're happening, right? And narratives become truths that somewhere we attach truth to something that was false, and our life becomes a reflection of the way that we're now thinking, right? That's the whole, like, I'll never find a girl, or I'm too young to get clean, or my mindset was like, I'll never be able to do a job that I love because how's someone going to hire me because I'm a convicted felon and because I don't have education and all that. That was a narrative. I believe that so much that I decided to take my bitch ass and do fucking roofing. You know what I mean? Like, and if you know me, you know like how much I believed in the narrative that I couldn't do better than that for you to wake my ass up at 4:30 in the morning every day. To picture this, Chris.
I can't.
Me up at 4:30.
Chris, don't do it.
To be on the roof by 5, lugging shingles, dirty nails, work boots, dirt all over me.
When was nap time?
There was no nap time.
Oh my God.
Why were you putting dirty nails on the roof?
No, my nails got
Fingernail.
dirty.
Yo. Fire.
My nails
I
got
can't picture it. Like you doing double stack bundles up to the
all that
I
shit,
can't.
dude. All that shit,
Them
dude.
playing Mad until 5 a.m. on the weekend.
Oh, bro, it was fucking. But that was
about that life.
But that was the fucking the narrative that I created, and we create all these narratives without in their subconscious, right? Their subconscious
What? All right.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Hey, don't talk to us like that, all right?
Cocky fucking.
Don't you fucking dare talk to us like that.
I'm really liking the different words that are coming out.
Bro,
tonight.
I'm just
So
fucking
obnoxious.
eating shit on that one word, dude. It's fucking terrible.
Hey, I got an idea.
I'm
Don't
fucking.
fucking
You're
use it.
fully
Don't
talked.
use it.
Yeah,
I'm letting them go.
yeah.
It's
No,
your first
man's-
episode back. You know, you had a little hiatus.
yeah. No,
Shit.
for sure.
Thank you, Jay, for
I'm
calling
gonna
him out.
practice that word.
My man, don't come at my man like that.
Yeah. Hold me,
sorry.
hold me
Whoa,
down.
whoa.
Hey, listen,
He
he's
calls
a-
everyone out. He calls everyone
He's
out.
a
They
half
fuck
a
up.
banging right now. I don't know if you want that smoke. I'm
My
gonna
man.
tell you, he's a half
My
a
man.
banging.
The fact he's got my back and I handed him a drink and it exploded, which I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Love
Can
you.
we just talk
Yeah,
about that
Eddie, you
for a
got
second?
half
He
a
said-
salsa water in on your lap. Half a salsa
Can we
water
address the elephant in the room? Before
Oh,
we
no
go any
doubt,
farther?
bro. First off, it couldn't have happened to a more sensitive, like, you got to understand, like, that type of moment will fuck Chris up for
Oh, yeah.
3
A
days,
week,
dude.
a week.
Let me
It'll
just- can I
fuck him
just-
up for a
can
week
I
'cause
just
he's such a
explain to
sweetheart.
people what had happened?
Yeah, no, explain it. Yeah.
Because it's important. They
Yeah,
need
no.
this dialogue.
For
because
sure. Go ahead, hit
They
him
have
with
to
it.
know how I was treated, my friend.
Yeah. How we welcomed you to the SomeBuddies fucking.
So I walked in and I was a little nervous, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was intimidated. I seen Chris had been working out for a while. So whatever. I was trying to be quiet, and I sat down. I realized my anxiety was I was getting parched.
Yeah.
And,
You looked it. You did look it.
So I was licking my lips, and I said, "Man, I seen everybody had a drink," and I was like, I was really envious of everybody, and I said it out loud, hoping that I was gonna get help because I've learned in this process, like closed mouths don't get fed.
That's right.
Or drinks. So, my man Chris over here says, "Listen, bro, hey, listen. When I tell you,
I got
smooth criminal this kid is, right? He has a drink next to him over there, and he goes, you want that? Like, look, hey, listen. No, hold on. I gotta do it. You want that?" And I was just like, "Is that yours?" He goes, "It's yours now if you want it." Hey, right? Verbatim, baby.
Yeah.
Hey. I said, "Yeah, man, thank you." Like, and he hands it to me. I said, "Dude, I love you right now." Mid talk, I open it. The thing sprinkler system.
Dude, not just sprinkle, fucking exploded. It was as if Chris just took the fucking bottle and was like, ah.
No, it's half gone. I've taken one sip.
Yeah.
It went everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Dude, I felt so bad. And the best is I saw Chris walk in and look, and I thought, like, I knew in his head, he's like, I was going to drink that. You saved him because he drinks all my drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he would have.
I apologize.
And I'm so happy that it happened to Chris because like that type of moment, he's so sensitive
dude.
with stuff
Oh,
like
dude.
that.
I'll reach out to you later.
He's the type
too.
of dude that-
Facts.
He's gonna Venmo you $50.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude, I'm so bad.
I'll forgive you for $50. I'm just saying. I'll forgive
I've done more for less,
shit
so.
out of you for $50.
$50 is $50.
Dude,
Hey.
yeah. Facts.
All right, we're gonna take a quick pee-pee break. Clap. We're back, man. Chrissy with the weak bladder. Chrissy Ledoux. You
I'm
know
sorry,
what I mean?
guys. I'm sorry.
It's
the
tough.
pants.
It's
The pants.
I was born with it. Yeah.
They squeeze so
You-
tight on them that
Listen,
it makes them.
Squeezes out.
Hey,
heard
give him
the
a
eagle-
break. I think he's pregnant.
Yeah. No, it could be. It could be it.
I heard the eagle screaming on a quarter that's in his pocket.
You're all alone right now. I actually got baggy pants on, so it's usually
Yeah,
fucking.
it's all right. I got to hold it down, especially,
So right before we were just sitting here before we were recording, Eddie, you were talking about doubt, and you were making some good points, man. You were talking about some good shit, and then Justin started to chime in. And I wanted you guys to shut the fuck up because it's good content, and
is good
we
content.
weren't recording, but you were talking about doubt being what?
The greatest salesman.
The greatest salesman.
The greatest salesman, doubt. Just nipping it in the bud. Doubt's always been the greatest salesman in my life, and that's like I believe that's a learned behavior too. Through failure and not persevering through that. Not trying again, because my life consisted of trying something, failing, and giving up on it. And then that slowly crept in where doubt just lived in my house. Doubt was a part of my life through my addiction and the idea of wanting to get clean and not getting clean for years because of one reason.
Yep.
Because of doubt. Because I doubted that I could get clean. Because I doubted that people would forgive me, that people would love me, that I could be a good person, and doubt. People talk a lot about fear, but doubt, man, I can really dig in.
Well, it's essentially that is the premise behind what I talk about with the narratives that we create when we start to attach truth to things that aren't true, and it's the doubt, right? And doubt creates the worst narratives. They're the creators of the narratives that cause the most struggle in early recovery, right? Because if you don't believe that there is a life out there worth living for you, or that it's capable, it's hard to get traction and to build energy towards getting clean, because we have to live for something, right? And we come from like the complete destruction, which has now validated that doubt that we hold on to, and it's strengthened the narrative now. So it's like even when we get clean, I can look back, and I'm sure you guys can look back in hindsight and seeing like times where you tried to get clean and like you put together some time, but the idea of like what your life was going to be, or what it was looking like, or what you believe possible, it wasn't enough, and if you match that up with like not doing or understanding the full concept of the disease and how we suffer internally, and we're not doing the work, the disease, that's fucking easy money all day to get you to get that mentality of fuck it, right? What does it even matter? There was so many times I relapsed and I was like, whatever. I'm in a fucking dusty ass sober house in fucking Malden, Mass, with fucking some drunk dude in the other room. My mom's still not talking to me. I'm still fucking I'm working a shit job at a tanning salon. This is all a true story.
Yeah.
I was making fucking $6 an hour. I don't have a car. I'm taking the bus and train. I'm like, this is as good as it's going to get. That was a narrative that I created, because the idea of anything outside of that, when, like you were talking about prior to this, you said doubt is the salesman that prior to even the action, it won't even let you complete the thought or the idea before it interrupts, and it's like, nah. And that goes back to what we're talking about, the observer, the inner observer, the dialogue that can be changed through action, right? And it is a byproduct of like circumstances in life, or not being surrounded by people that you've witnessed them walk through fears and change. That is the importance of like the halls and 12-step recovery and all that, because even when I say the foundation of everything is connection, honesty, and relentless communication, right? And although you don't necessarily need to go to 12-step recovery to find that, there's no better collection of like inspiration than in these meetings, right? You'll find people like where I found Justin, where I found Jay, like even where I found you, you know what I mean? That's like the gathering place of like the soldiers that are going to walk side by side with me to help strengthen me in like the days to come, to get me to change, to help me to change the narrative, and to insert a new belief system, right? Because that's what people have helped the most in my process, is the insertion of a new belief system, right? Changing the limited belief system to something different. Because if that never occurred, I can honestly say I wouldn't stay clean, because the life that I thought that I was destined to live, I would never be able to stay clean within, right? And the friends that I thought that I was destined to have, and the type of relationships I thought that I was destined to be in, were always going to make me sad and miserable and insecure, right? Yep. It's when that process of change started to occur, and the dialogue started to shift, and it was small victories, right? This doesn't come over like fucking one big hoorah out the gate. It's like small victories. Like we built up to this moment right now, taking fucking baby steps. Even in business, right? Our first baby step was like a credit card in one shithole apartment in Lynn. That was the first small victory.
Well, you were just talking about where you started from. I mean, dude, my first job in recovery was at Auntie Anne's Pretzel Shop. I remember getting a job at Foot Action, and it's like I won the fucking lottery.
Oh, for sure.
Because Auntie Anne's Pretzel Shop, you wear this little fucking visor, dude, and I'm like, I think I'm like a fucking gangster, dude. You
Justin
know what I mean?
slinging pretzels.
Oh, you
And
looked
dude,
good in it.
Auntie Anne's Pretzels are like, they're good, but you don't want to be working there.
No.
You know what I mean? You got a pretty girl that comes up to the thing, and you're just like, holy shit, dude, this is fucking...
Yo, I get off in about 2 hours, baby.
You
What's
know
the
what I mean?
move?
You want the cheese
I get the
sauce
job
with
at
that,
Foot
baby?
Action. I get to wear some new sneakers and a little Nike jersey. Dude, for me, that was like, it was literally like I won the lottery at 6 months clean when I got a job at Foot Action, you know, and 23 years later, the world looks completely different. But it's another thing that people don't take into account is, you know, God works in time.
Yeah.
God works in time. It's part of the process. And so all the work that you're doing is to build a thought form that's going to change your reality, because your perception creates your reality. So if your truth is, I'm going to be nothing, that actually becomes your truth.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a lie, but it's a lie that actually is not a lie.
Yeah.
It's the truth. It becomes your reality. If you really even look at society, it's like, it's almost without fail. If you come from tough circumstances, the statistics are against you to be successful. They really are, you know, and obviously you can listen to motivational speakers and other stuff to change your thought form. But at the same note, people who come from wealth or success almost inherently inherit those belief systems that they can do it too, because it's what they saw, it's what they learned. I mean, you're just
drilled into
you're talking about doubt, but it's like you can just observe your atmosphere and see it ain't happening. Nobody's being successful. We're not making it.
You don't
know
even
what
know
I mean?
how to. How do you, in those atmospheres? How do you be successful?
Well, exactly.
You know,
tough.
like for instance, getting clean. You know, we talk about doubt. We talk about like, you know, getting clean. Like, it's tough to get clean, right? Because like all we experienced and using was failures. We never got any experiences in success. So no shit, we're filled with doubt. The reason we never experienced success, I never experienced success, is because I would get a job and I'd be using, and ultimately I'd get fired from that job for a reason. I would be stealing. I wouldn't show up. It was but that was failure to me. It was constant failure of my doing. Nonetheless, it was failure. I had no successes. So for me to be filled with fears, doubts, and insecurities was perfectly normal. Like, how do you know, it's so tough to persevere through that. And that's why getting in the 12-step fellowships and getting around people and just, like you said it perfectly, the small victories.
Yeah.
You know, getting into recovery and like just something small going your way, you know, because like I can get wrapped up in this, you know, 3 years clean. I can get wrapped up in, you know, what I was going to talk about is the motivational speakers. You know I can listen to motivational speakers and turn it into something completely horrible.
Yeah,
I can. Hey, listen, because I feel it. I fancy myself an intellectual, right? And
I concur.
And I feel it. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, yeah, you know, they're talking about like being strong, being determined. You're giving 70%. You need to give 120%. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like,
Now you got to go do it, though.
and I'm pumped up.
But you got to go do it.
And then I'm like, what? Give 120% to what though? You didn't say what, dude. Hey, right? Because like, you know, people talk about it all the time coming in here, and this is the question that I wanted to ask you guys, right?
Hell yeah.
Is we hear it like your passions, the things you want to do, you can do anything. Like you can be successful, like you can do this, you could like, and sometimes I sit there and I'm like, yeah, I can. And I believe that. Yeah. I believe I can. That's the thing. But like,
it's like the tape stopped before the answer came.
So, I don't like.
So you want the fix to that? I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's different for these guys than me, but it's actually the same. Meditation, my friend. He got in a meditative state through dance. He gets to a meditative state through art, but your meditative state might just have to be meditation, unfortunately. Mine is meditation. But literally, you quiet yourself, and your higher self will start talking to you, and you will start to have ideas that come with energy, and you just know, I'm supposed to do this. Yeah. Literally. Dude, before we ever started the sober living, a message had come in meditation. You need to help more people. You need to give back more. You need to give more money back. And then literally 2 weeks later, he comes to me, you want to start sober living? And I'm like, fucking yeah, I do. I literally just heard a message in meditation that like, yeah, I'm helping all these people in 12-step recovery, but what am I doing with the money I'm making? I'm just buying new cars and buying new things and like that. You know what I mean? I was living selfishly in that area of my life. I wasn't giving back in that area of my life. So like I literally heard that message in meditation and started to ponder on it, and then an opportunity came. It's so weird, but I mean, in AA, they're diehard. Bill W. says meditation's as important as eating, breathing, and sleeping.
Well, that's the listening piece, right? That's
he's not saying like maybe you should do this. He's saying
you have to do it.
I will. I can. I fucking must meditate.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start.
So I was reading something.
People don't get on it, but I'm telling you, it's.
I'm gonna do it now that you said. I am, because I never heard
I was
that.
reading something earlier that basically it said that, like, because some people ask that, they're like, you're so passionate about your artwork and now recovery, right? I don't know what I'm passionate about. And I was reading something earlier that said if you're dealing with someone that truly doesn't know what their passion is, maybe ask them this question. If you had all the free time on a daily basis and the means to be able to do whatever you enjoy doing, what would your day look like if you had a endless bank account, endless time?
Mine? Yeah, it looked pretty fucking good, huh? Like, but no, in all serious, I mean,
like, what would you do?
What else would
retired?
That's it. Hey, how about this? The end. Yeah.
I made it. Check, please.
But no, like, I know exactly. I know what my passions are, right? Like, I know what my passions are. I'm passionate about recovery. I'm passionate about helping people. Like, I love the recovery field. Like, you know what I mean? Like, things like that. I love meetings. It's deeper. It's deeper than that.
Of course. And I'll let you chime back in, Jay. But so a lot of people ask me this because I always talk about the importance of finding path and purpose, right? Meaning in life. And some people and they'll be like, what if you don't know? And I'll say it's okay that you don't know. You just have to have an understanding and acceptance that you know it's like we talk about putting energy out in the world, making a declaration, like understand we put it into the universe. It's like I'm here to find path and purpose. They talk about I think it was Les Brown in one of his motivational talks. He said trust in your heart and your intuition that it already knows where to go. That's what I'm talking about, getting out of this and in here. Now, does that necessarily mean the first door that you open is going to be on the other side of that, your path and purpose? Fuck no. Because the first door I opened I didn't end up here, right? The first door I opened, it was like God called, I answered. And when you get to that, or the universe, whatever you believe, I always say, and I say it to my wife all the time, she thinks I'm fucking crazy in a lot of my decisions because they're not logical. But I'm not in a logical world, man. I'm in a miraculous world led by a miraculous God that takes fucking fuck ups like me and like you and everybody in this room and does this. You know what I mean? That's miraculous shit, right? So I can't have basic logical thinking. Basic logical thinking would have told you that I was supposed to be dead, or I should have never got clean, or that because my father died of alcoholism and his father died of alcoholism. Logic tells you what?
That you would have died of alcoholism.
That I should die of alcoholism. So I'm not thinking in terms of a logical mind. In a miraculous mindset, I understand that through the action that I take, forward movement, trusting intuitively, right? When God calls, I answer. It's as simple as like I take that job in the roofers union. In that moment, it was the action that I had to take. But the day that it said that this is done, it was also the action that I had to take. Yep. And that wasn't. I had no plans on. When I quit that job for me to be like this super successful. I just knew that that's where my spirit was leading me. Go speak to Rick. Rick was the cop of, he was a cop. Rhea was a woman in my life that had mentored me when I was younger, but I knew I had to speak to Rick because he had shown up and a couple times. He knew my past, heroin addict, all this stuff. So if I was going to get a second chance at dancing or a first chance, it was going to be to speak to him. So my intuition said, talk to Rick. And that led me to my first job when I was teaching dance. You know what it was? It was a bar mitzvah dancer.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So havra nakila nakila. I'm holding Jewish girls and boys up on chairs like this, and fucking every weekend. And sometimes I had to dress up. Ask my brother. I had to dress up like a prince and toot horns. And sometimes I had to wear these goofy outfits. That's obviously not my path and purpose.
God's plan.
That was the opportunity, the door opened.
But it was intuitively, it was like, this is what you feel it. You feel like this is it. And it was never like, this is the end all be all. This was always a step closer to ultimately what it was that I was seeking, right? Even in the midst, because if you would have said, what is your passion and purpose? If you would have asked Jay 10 years ago, he would have said dancing.
What, or your passion?
Yeah. You would have thought my purpose was dancing. And yet it isn't.
It's not. No.
It's not. Yeah. What I
do now. It was a passion of yours.
It was a passion, and it was a path that I was led down to take me ultimately to this place, because it was a conversation that happened in that dance studio that led me to wanting to do this. Had I not been in that dance studio with all these fucking parents' respect and their children at that dancing school signed up for this dancing school, and if I wasn't sitting in the office desk and listening to them talk about the methadone clinic that was opening up in Saugus and how they didn't want these junkies in that neighborhood, if I didn't hear that conversation, it wouldn't have triggered something inside of me that led me ultimately to my true path and purpose, which is this. But every door was intuitively and spiritually led. I trusted in it. It was like God saying, come on. It's like that picture of that the little girl hanging on to the little doll in God's hands, and he's holding it, and he's bending down on one knee. And he's got one hand, and behind his back, he's got that giant doll, right? And that he's going to give her. And it's that trust, right? That this is the forward movement, or it's that the drawing that you drew in the basement at Process that I love, which the guy mining and the where he's giving up, and
says give up and says I can't. And right on the other side is blessed, grateful, love, and hope. And sometimes people give up right before they get to the other side. And that same passion that he had for dancing, yes, it wore off for a bigger passion. I was passionate about cutting hair. My first year ever obtaining a year in recovery, I wanted so bad to be back in a barbershop, but I knew that I had to be had an understanding of how to stay clean, because having fucking $400 cash in your hand in one day for someone that doesn't know how to stay clean is a trigger. And I finally got back to cutting hair, and I did that for 16 years. And the first time I worked at the process, okay, it truly, that is what changed it, because I would work until midnight some nights talking with these guys and then go cut hair all day and was like, this is hitting different. You know what I'm saying?
But again, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have said barber.
Yep.
And people would have said dancer. And
guess
you're
what?
one of the best barbers I know. Fucking dude could do fucking Michael Jackson's fucking face on the back of your head with clippers. Like, the dude was the best barber. He could fill up, oh my God. Think of this shit on the wall, but he could do it with a clipper.
Yeah, he's an
on your
artist.
fucking head.
He's
It's
an artist.
insane. And he could have opened up his own barbershop. He could have done whatever the fuck he wanted with that. That wasn't the, that was.
And here's the thing, real quick, because I just thought of this real quick. His path with dancing, he danced with Ian. Ian now dances with Lady Gaga, has for 11 years. I met Ian through Chris. I ended up going to the Boston Garden and the Wayne Theater, and then I went on a date with one of her singers, which Chris came. We went to Times Square, and I went on a date, right? This is all two kids that met fucking shooting around, playing basketball, that had two passions that bounced off each other. And we say it all the time. He wanted to be a dancer, and everyone's like, you're fucking crazy. You can't quit the Rufus Union. And I said, fuck that. If you want to do that, go do it. I want to be a successful graffiti writer, or just an artist, never mind even just graffiti, but just a creative type, to be able to think and paint it and have that be a career. That was a goal of mine. That's what I do now. Right? And that was two kids. And that passion started to dim out. Like, it ran its course. I didn't like to go to the barbershop every day. What I like doing is being in housing, being around guys that got fucking 4 days clean, and they have doubt, and they have fears, and they have insecurities, and they look just like me. And I don't give a fuck what their background is, who you pray to, if you have both parents, if you came from low-income housing. What I mean by they look like me is I look in your eyes and there's pain, and you don't see anything greater than just a day clean. And I'm here to say, what do you want to do? I'm here to tell you that this is what I wanted to do, and it started in treatment and writing and drawing, and fucking things come to life. I draw, right? I sketch. That turns out to be something that I paint, and I grew up doing, billboards, trains, fucking all this crazy wowing out shit. But it's like when you say you write your goals down, a goals list. Well, my fucking thinking comes out on paper, and it can look like chicken scratch, and what I'll turn that into amazes people. And I sucked at doing this shit when I was a kid, but I put the energy into it, and I needed people like that. Or people like Justin that reached out when it was always like, he's always been a positive friend. You need people like that.
And ultimately, the point is like what we talked about earlier. If like your spirit is calling to be a barber right now, you go be a barber, but also have the awareness that if that's not it, then that's not it.
Yep.
And not being afraid to be like, I thought this was where I was. Nah, man, that may just be where you're supposed to be for that moment. You know what I mean?
But sometimes what your purpose can manifest in different avenues. So when you start to tap into what your purpose is, like your purpose can be helping people.
Yeah.
And whether you realize it or not, when you're cutting their hair, you're helping them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're
it
making
was a
them
help
look
for
better.
years. Yeah.
And so sometimes your passion, like your career can change, but the passion's the same. And so if you can start to, align who am I and what am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing? You know what I mean? And ultimately, I actually do think that everybody here, in forms, we're all here in service to others.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like
that's
legit,
what
we're
we get
all
the
here
most
in
out of.
service to others. Like, so how do you passionately serve others though? So for one guy, he might build fucking skyscrapers. He's literally serving thousands of people who are going to work in that skyscraper. That's his passion, though. You know what I mean? He just knows. Since he was a little kid, his fucking Legos, he just fucking started Legoing fucking Empire State Buildings. You know what I mean? So, like, he's serving his passion in being service to everybody else through that. So it's like, I do feel like one thing that I didn't say was I think it's prayer and meditation, actually.
Yeah.
So,
like
because you
that.
have to ask. You know what I mean? It actually, it says in the Bible, you have not because you ask not.
Yeah, I like the meditation piece that you were talking about. I like what you were talking about just because like I identify like it's just like a testimony of you following God's will. You know what I mean? Because like same with Jay, same with Jay, like we have passions, but the doors open up. The doors open up through those passions, and ultimately it's like through doing the next right thing, right? Like what they talk about, it's doing the next right thing. and just continuing the process, right? And like that's what I wanted to touch on is like I feel like I'm in a season in my life where I believe I'm in a good place. I feel amazing. I feel great. I love myself. I love other people. I have a passion for talking to people, being friendly with people, encouraging people. Just that's my passion. Like that's my true passion. Like what would I do if I had all the time and all the money in the world? I would walk around and like literally just talk to people. I would meet new people. I just want to listen. I want to talk. I want to encourage. I just want the world to know, yes, you can, right? Like,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. Like, I want that because there's nothing in this world. There's nothing in this world. And when someone tells you, like, thanks, man, like, that was a really deep talk, you know? I just had a talk with one of my good friends, like, over the phone. He's just in a bad space, in a bad season in his life. And I was at work, and I was just talking to him, and I talked to him while working on the phone with one hand, and because that's where he was at, and that's what he needed. And I loved every minute of it. And literally the next day, he sent me this text message that made me cry. There's never been an amount of money that was sent to me or given to me that makes me feel like that.
No.
Yeah.
There's nothing. And I was just like blown out of the water, like how much that fills me up. So
No, I was just gonna say I love how you touched upon that because like when I first got clean, like I remember my sponsor. I was talking to him like my buddy's struggling. I'm like, but I have nothing to give him. He's like, yeah, you do. Give him your time, right? Because some people just need to just let it out, right? Because when I let it out, it makes me feel better. Then I end up thanking you and it makes you feel better. So we're both serving each other at that point, right? And a problem not spoken is a problem not solved. And I've heard this here a million times. You know, we're talking about like path and purpose and finding like what we're good at and stuff. And I love how you touched upon like dancing, right? Went from Roofers Union dancing and then, you know, owner of treatment centers, construction company, everything, Nashua, you know, and then your path and purpose, I think where I got it fucked up, where I was trying to be like, this is where I'm going to start. And I tried to connect the dots. And we talked about that in one of the first episodes about connecting the dots, right? And with me, just like with my negative self-talk, it's, I got to do this, I don't know if I can do this. And the negative self-talk starts coming in. But it's letting go and letting God, or letting go and letting the universe, right? And believing in it. Because I believe when you say that.
It's what we were talking about, too.
Yeah.
He was talking about, you know, doubt, and I was telling him, you know, Canfield teaches, I'm a big Jack Canfield student, law of attraction, that, you know, thoughts are vibrations. Thoughts are things. Like, just the way that you talk on a cell phone, your thoughts do have a frequency to them. Don't get it confused. So if you have a thought, I want to start a business, that's a frequency that goes out. If your next thought is, but I can't because I don't have enough money and I don't have this other stuff, it's another frequency that's canceling out the first frequency. It's like noise canceling headphones. All that is one frequency canceling out another. So the second that you put out a doubtful thought about your first thought, you literally just canceled it because the universe is asking you it back to, you know, you have not because you ask not. Yeah. So it's like when you ask and you put it out there, things will start to manifest. Do not get it twisted that you will see opportunities that you would not see otherwise if you didn't put it out there. So if you put a thought out there, but then instantly you put the negative thoughts afterwards, that's why I'm a big believer in just write down what your goals are. No expectations. You know what I mean? Yeah. It could happen a year from now. It could happen 60 fucking years from now. Do you know what I mean? Because you never know, like, when something's going to happen. Maybe it never happens. Maybe it's just, you know what I mean? But who cares? It could happen. Just the possibility. You can live in the vibration of something happening. Like, you don't even have to have it happen. You can live in the vibration of the possibility of something happening, like you're in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, the better you get at this, the better you get at raising your vibration to living in a frequency of something already coming to you. This has already happened. It's like when the guy told me 9 out of 10 businesses fail. I'm like, not mine, buddy.
Yeah, with that mentality.
That's fine. That's cool. That's not, you know what I mean? Not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening. So, but it's what I've come to know. It's like what I believe. I like believe this deeply, you know? So it's like,
it's true.
since the vibration's going out there, it's going to come back to me. Early in recovery, it's so easy to just cancel everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. It's like, no, you can.
Yeah.
Just don't try to figure it out. I agree with you. You don't need to figure it out. You just, you know what I mean? You create the possibility. You meet some people who are going to pump your tires about it. You know what I mean? Yes, you can do that. You can do whatever you want, you know? And then you're right. It evolves. This process evolves. You just stick and stay, keep putting one foot in front of the other. New opportunities present themselves. And before you know it, you have this life that you're like, what the fuck happened to my, like, how do I live this life?
Yeah.
You know,
It's
I
a
literally
game
beat
changer,
like every
man.
statistic in the fucking world of like, I was a high school dropout. I dropped out when I was 15. You know what I mean? Like, if you took me and the statistics and making money and all that other shit, I beat all the statistics. You know how I beat all the statistics? Through fucking the thought form of recovery.
Yeah.
Through the philosophy of positive fucking thinking.
And now you're at a point, which is cool, like of like when that, like you said, when that guy talks to you, you know, 9 out of 10 business, like
I was
no,
like, yeah.
no, they don't. Like,
yeah.
and that's the amazing, like that's the hope. Like that's the freedom.
Because
right there
people like
from your
that,
dope,
people like
from
that are
your,
a fucking cancer.
Yeah.
yeah.
People that said, I remember the first time I ever got clean. I forget what the numbers were, but it was 1 in something, 1 in 30,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
And I was in a holding facility with fucking 80 guys. And I'm here to tell you, and this is when I'm sorry, it wasn't the first time. It was when I put the 8 years together. When he said that number, I looked around and literally was like, damn, all these motherfuckers are going to relapse? Yeah. I'm dead serious. And I also, I don't even know if I've ever said this, at least not on the podcast. I had such an issue with God and just like spirituality or just anything positive. And I remember asking my grandmother to give me a sign. My grandmother passed away when I was 17. She basically raised me. And that was like my first taste of like unconditional love, right? So that was kind of like my higher power at the time. And I'm like, Nana, just like give me a sign. I didn't know if me being clean would work. And we had these little like raffles. There's fucking 80 something guys in this room. And they call out that number. It was my ticket.
Yeah.
The same fucking
Maybe
group that I'm
emotional.
looking around and being like, oh, all these dudes, I know it sounds cocky, but I literally looked around and was like, all these motherfuckers are going to relapse. I'll be that one. So when I hear that and someone say that, or someone says, don't quit the roofers union, that is the type of shit that sparked the fuck that, go get it. I was with him when he went back to funk for the first time. We talk about it all the time. Why? Repetition, just like he preaches. Repetition. So that's our story. That part of our story is never going to change. It never has to. That's some of the most powerful shit. Because when you're saying, oh, I look around, it's like, oh, my life. I do that today. I wake up. Yeah, there's some stuff I got to do. A relationship ended. I got to get a car. I got to get an apartment. That's fucking small shit compared to what the fuck I used to think in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, if that's really the worst thing I have going on, some feelings of a relationship ending, you have to get a car. On any given day, my phone can go off and I can go make money doing artwork. On any given day, my phone can go off and you have to go help someone else. I asked for that.
Can I just say, like, this is I think the first time I've ever been in a room with like 5 other guys, 6, 7 other guys, man, that all were 10s. I've never been in a room with like with 7 dudes that were all 10s before.
like man dimes?
Like man dimes, I'm talking. Like, this is wild.
What a segue. That was really deep.
No,
bro.
I mean that. I'm just looking at Jay like while he's talking, like, and I'm just like,
So this is going to be a 3 episode special.
damn, he's
going to be on.
handsome.
He is.
I just can't.
Yeah.
He is.
Jay's
Incre-
very
yeah.
I just think,
The man
nah,
is a
listen,
handsome
man, you guys
motherfucker.
like honestly, that's great. Like, this is the best. You don't get anything like this. This is what you only get this on somebody's podcast.
Oh.
Literally, listen, I'm
Wow.
telling you right
Shit.
now, this is where you get this stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
So we're coming to the end,
What about
and
the stories, guy?
and we're coming to the end of the podcast, and usually I'll end with like a question or whatever the fuck. I'll just jumble through some sort of thing and panic, and then say something, and then Chris will stutter.
Fuck
Jay
it
will
up.
take a deep breath and then give an answer. Justin will
I'll
answer.
go on a 20-minute
Yeah,
rant.
yeah,
The
yeah,
podcast would be 2.5 hours at that point.
Yeah, but instead we're gonna have this story, and I'm not even gonna hype it up. I just know that.
Don't even hype it up.
I just know that it was when you told it to me. I remember that we was at a restaurant in the South Shore, maybe even an Applebee's.
Was it Kelly's? Oh,
It was an
It might have been Applebee's.
Applebee's, and you ever laugh so hard you almost piss and shit yourself at the same time
Yes.
while sneezing and
Just a complete shutdown.
just like a shutdown of bodily functions, man. And then you wake up the next day and your fucking ribs hurt, and you got to think like laughing wasn't even an option for me at this time. Like I hadn't laughed I probably hadn't laughed in 6 months at this point, dude. I did nothing but wake up and go. I literally, at that point, I was getting up every day, crying from my soul to the saddest music ever until I got hungry, and then I go eat. You know what I mean? Those are my days. Were like, you know. So this story has nothing to do with recovery. It's just.
No, I mean, I guess it kind of does. You know, if you think about it, like you talk about your process and learning through life.
Yeah, definitely learning.
Yeah, learning lessons, like solid lessons. Humility. We talked about humility tonight, but yeah, this was a lesson in humility right here, like in the hottest form. You know, I'll never forget the night. I'll never forget it. I was 17 years old. You know, me and my cousin, a couple buddies, you know, we're in Somerville, Lagoon Square, outside a bar. And we couldn't go in there all that often. We got to sneak in once in a while. But, you know, our kind of thing was to go there and drink outside the bar and, like, get drunk outside the bar. And then we can interact with people as they're walking out. And we feel like kind of like we're in it, you know. I mean, that was our solution to being 17 and going to the bar. And, you know, I can be cocky. Man. You know, I know when I was a kid, it was in the worst form. I was like real arrogant. You know, I thought, let's get honest here. I mean, I think I'm like, what, $175, 5'8".
Handsome
as hell though. Yeah,
175, like a 10.
It says 5'9" on my license. Sucker. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, squeeze an inch, you know. Don't judge me. But anyway, you know, I'm sitting out there and, you know, we're just drinking and people are coming out. We're having a good time. And, you know, talk about tens, man. This female dime walks out of the bar. Wowza. Right? You ever see a girl that you're just like, damn. Like, how? Right? Like, literally in your head, just how? And she's walking out, and they're walking across the street. And then I realized I saw who she was walking with, right? She was walking with Harry Potter's twin brother. No, listen, I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you dead serious. She was walking across the street with Harry Potter. This guy had to be 5'4", right? Like $110 on a good day. I just blew my mind. But, you know, me being an arrogant little prick, I said, damn, nice ass, right? Like that's going to get her. Yeah. And he turns around, he's like, hey, man, no need to be rude. You know, and I'm a few drinks in now, right? Like, I got my cousin with me, and I got two boys with me, right? And I'm feeling good. Listen, you just opened the door. I'm about to whoop your ass, right? Like that's how I'm feeling. So I walked across the street and talk about confidence and stuff. Listen, I was 10 out of 10 times I'm fucking this dude up. Listen, there's not a doubt. Doubt was not selling me on anything on this situation. I already played the tape through. I'm the fucking champ. I'm holding up the belt, right? So I walked across the street and I said, what's that, buddy? What? Right? Like, and he goes, listen, man. He's like, don't make this. Dude, this dude was cool as a cucumber. I should have fucking, listen, I should have seen. There's 4 of us right here. This guy's literally 110 pounds. Like, he's chilling. Like, red flag, right? Like, and he's like, listen, man. So I walked up and I get in his face. He's like, and I'll never fucking forget. I know the look. I know the hand expression that he did. Like, I walk over and I was literally right behind him. And I was like, what's up, motherfucker? And he turned around and he put his finger up and he said, I'm going to give you the opportunity to walk away right now. And he was dead fucking serious. I was like, what? Hey, I looked behind me after he said that at my cousin and was like, dude, you hear this motherfucker? So we walked across the parking lot and I continued to follow him. So I walked behind him and I pushed him from behind. I don't know what happened after that. Listen, I wish I could tell the fucking story. I don't know what happened. Literally, I wish I could tell you what the fuck happened. Like, but everything just kind of like fucking was blurred after that. Like, and literally, like, I ended up going out dead serious. This is a true fucking story. I got taken out of CVS parking lot. It wasn't CVS at the time, but in an ambulance. No, dead serious. I'm in an ambulance.
What happened to your cousin and your boys?
So my cousin ends up coming in the ambulance. We go to the hospital. Now, when I tell you, like, I was fucked up. No, dead serious. Like, I had 2 broken ribs and fractured my left cheekbone. This we found out after the fact. But I'll never forget the conversation with my cousin. Like, he was sitting beside me, and I was like, dude, like, I didn't want to talk about it at first, like, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But kind of like he's sitting there, and he's like, being all extra sentimental to me. He's just like, how you feeling, man? Like, and then I felt like I was open to have like this talk, and I said, dude, like, what happened? Did you guys fuck that dude up? Now, God bless his soul, right? Like, he could have lied to me. He could have told me, like, we fucking wrecked that kid's life after he hit you with a baseball bat, and like, there was no baseball. He could have told me, like, the kid had a weapon, but instead he goes, no. I said, I was hurt. I'm hurt. I said, what? He goes, dude, he fucking was throwing elbows, knees. He goes, that dude was like Bruce Lee's son. Hey. He wasn't even fucking around with me. This kid was so serious. You saw the fear in his eyes as he's telling me the story. Like, no, we did no such thing. No. After we witnessed him whoop your ass, we came to the realization that he was going to give us an opportunity to walk away. You know what I'm saying? And, but like, hey, but getting serious again, like dead serious, like that was literally a thing in my life where I really started to learn, like, don't judge a book by its cover. No. Because like shit gets real, real fast without you even knowing.
Oh man,
it was amazing.
Anytime someone with that type of confidence looks at you with the look and says, I'm going to give you one last chance,
dude,
to walk away, that's usually a sign.
He's by himself with a girl, and there's 4 fucking guys. On a dock, it's not it's a main street.
Did you have to assume you would jump? Like, was it my first instinct after waking up in an ambulance? Like, how many were there?
Literally, like, how big was the
one of y'all?
Hey, how big was the baseball bat?
The moral of the story: that's how Harry Potters get the dimes.
Yeah, that is how Harry. Yeah,
you know, it was his girlfriend that beat you up.
Because we always sit there and go like, he either has this or that, right? Like, you know, and it's. Like, God forbid the dude was just like a loving, caring person who expressed like interest in her and supported her.
Loving, caring,
right? Like when you're young, you're always like, he's either packing like a horse or his bank account.
Yeah,
huge,
yeah, no,
right?
for
Like,
sure.
like how? God forbid, like he's just a great person.
He's just a great person.
No way.
There's no way.
Yeah.
She's seen him fucking roundhouse kids like you outside bars before. She's like, that's my man.
Dude, listen.
He's gonna keep me safe.
Hey, my cousin told me the only thing that would have made that night better is if that dude was wearing some American flag pants.
Oh man.
I hope the guy sees this episode and he reaches out to you.
Oh,
That'd be
God.
epic.
Oh,
We
if
have
you
him on.
remembered, I would love to talk to him.
Oh my
Big
god.
thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
I've created this image of him in my mind from your story. Like I feel like I know him.
Yeah.
I feel like I could
So
see him on the
deep.
street.
He's big.
I
know
just
you.
want to thank him and hug him and tell him sorry.
Oh, unbelievable. All right, well, we're coming to the end of this episode. I want to thank again my guest, my dude, my fucking my ball of light in my life, Eddie, coming on the show. I love you, brother. Obviously,
Thank you,
I didn't
Eddie.
introduce you guys know who the fuck everyone. Chris was like, you
Miraculous.
You didn't introduce everybody, but it is what it is. Justin J, Chris Ledoux, I'm Chris D. We got my man Nico on the 1s and 2s.
Don't forget
like,
to like.
comment, subscribe, leave a comment. We love y'all. Thank you for supporting SomeBuddies Podcast. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.